Hello.
Wait, hold on.
I'm Lucas. My dad is really hungry, so we're gonna try to make some curry vegetable tofu. So here are the things that you need. You need a knife. We're gonna talk about the safety for this later. Also, ask your parents for permission. A spoon. A strainer doesn't have to be like this, just has to be a strainer. A cutting board. And a tray. Now, what we're going to do is now I'm going to show you the ingredients. We need a pepper, some chili powder, some curry powder, some fresh basil, and some tofu. Now we're going to start with prep. So, to start prepping, turn the oven at 425 degrees. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to take your cutting board, and we're going to take the pepper, and we're going to do something actually before this. So what you got to do is you got to take parchment paper and lay it out over this. And lay it out over the pan. Just like that. Now, the reason I wouldn't let you just put it on the pan is, even if it's a non-stick pan, the length of time in the oven will make it stick to the pan and you will lose a lot of tofu. Trust me, I learned it that way. I learned it the hard way. Okay, now what you're gonna do is gonna move this to the side, and we're going to take the cutting board, and we're gonna take the knife. Now we're gonna take our tofu, and we're going to use the knife to cut the tofu, like that. Now what you want to do, you want to drain it out in the sink. You want to just hold it and drain it out in the sink.
You said do that again.
Now what you want to do is you want to take it out. You want to pull it back all the way, and you want to plop it out, the tofu. And you want to cut it into fourths, and then you want to cut it again into fourths. Now take one of those fourths, we're going to move the rest of the tofu over here. Take one of those fourths and cut it in half, and then you get two. Then you put it on the pan. Now you just do that, and the easier way to do it, take two and then cut down. Now you have a few. And okay, now we're going to talk about the safety of this. So never leave a knife on the edge of a countertop. It can, if you have a baby sister, plop on her head. So you don't want that to happen. Or it is dangerous on falling someone's foot. Even that's very unlikely. That's very unlikely to hurt someone, but we want to prevent that. So, also I want to talk about the oven temp. So you want to be at 425 degrees for about 10 minutes. If it's not the right texture, which I will talk about later, it will be soggy on the inside. And since we're not, you might say that like in all YouTube videos it says like you have to drain all the water out and make it nice and dry. But for mine, just all you do is just put it in for a little while and it will taste really fluffy on the inside. Okay, now we're going to talk about the seasoning. And you want to have the curry powder and the chili powder because the chili powder will put a little spiciness, and the curry powder will make a good taste. And this is an Indian food, so of course it's gotta have curry powder. And so soon, what we're going to do is, we're going to cut up this pepper, and we're going to put it on the pan where it needs to be, and then we will talk about another thing. Now, what we need to do is we need to cut up this pepper. So first what we want to do is we want to cut it like this. First you gotta cut it like this, and then you cut it in half, and then you want to use a smaller knife to cut this out like this. To cut that all out. And you can use a knife to scoop out some extra seeds. Then, with the bigger knife, go like that. And that'll make your parents very happy that you're keeping your fingers away from the knife. And now, if they're still bonded, it's easy to just break apart, and you just toss them anywhere on the pan. And the pepper color does not matter. So it's fine if you can even make a mix. I've tried that before and it looks super good. So we're going to put this all on there. We're going to cut the rest of this. So now we're going to talk about more of the safety. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that it is not at the edge. It is very dangerous right there. So just never leave it there. And it's also, ask your parents about this, about going to a store and getting a knife that has a cover. I have one like that. I'm not using it right now because it's almost the dullest knife in my kitchen right now, but it is a good idea for safety if you have a baby sister. Mine, I have to look out for that. So now we're going to cut this again. Then we're going to cut that again because it's the larger side of it. We'll use this thing to cut out the seeds. Now we're going to cut it up again. And when we put the basil on, I will show you a special way to cut basil because basil is super hard to cut. It's not dangerous to cut, but it's hard to cut. So I'll teach you that. And so we're gonna have a little subscription below. It should be like right there. And what I want you to, and if you have any questions about how to make this or what temperature or how long to cook it or what happens if I don't have extra firm tofu, then just put that below and we will try to respond to your comments and questions as soon as possible. And please try to rate it. I am trying to make this so I can start a restaurant. So, woohoo! Now, we're almost done cutting up this pepper. If it ever is done cutting. We are going to put on, just for information, that's my puppy. She wants to play. Okay. Now, so if you see all these seeds, you're going to want a spoon, and you're going to take the spoon and you're going to scoop it out like this. See? And try to get all the seeds out. Use a spoon to get all the seeds out. Then, if you can't get all of them out, just try to pick Just try to use your fingers to get it out. And then just shake it upside down. Nothing left. Now cut. Now you just throw that on the pan. And this is supposed to be like in a bowl. It's not supposed to be like nachos you heat off the pan. This is supposed to be in a bowl. It's like sort of like a roasted tofu salad. But don't worry. Kids that don't like greens, don't worry. No greens in here. You're all thinking like, oh no, he did tell us there are greens in here. I'm shutting off this video. Don't worry. No greens. Except basil. The basil is really sweet though. So I get sweet basil. And sweet basil is always the best with this. So now what you do is, here's my basil plant. What you're going to do is you're going to take the knife, you're going to cut it off the basil, and then be right back. You put the basil in here. Take a good thing of basil and just cut it. And then you put it in the whole thing. Okay, now I'm going to put our friend to the side. Thank you much for your basil. Now, we're going to take the cutting board again. And we're going to go like this. This is called a saw cut. So look, you go like this. Wait, you go like this. You go like that. And that's the best way to chop basil. Because if you go like this, that's not going to do anything. That's just going to make marks in the basil. And we do not want that. So, you should have enough basil to fill your cup. So, we're going to put it in here. And then what we're going to do is we want to take a little of the basil and just sprinkle it on top. Now this is the fun part. This is the fun part. Now what we're going to do is we take out your spices and your little shifter thingy. See? And move the pan in front of you. I'll try to do it. And I'll move it like that so you can see. Now open both of your spices. Open both of your spices, and we'll start out with this. And we're going to take this. We're going to put it in here, and we're going like this. Then we're going to take a little more, put it in here. Now you blow on it a little in case a lot got in one place to get it off. And then we are going to, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the chili powder now. Now this is very powerful. So we're going to only take a little, we're going to put it in our hand. We're going to take little pinches. Little pinches. You take another pinch. Put it on, and then just lightly rub it. Now what you want to do is we have all this on. Now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the oven. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set the oven at 425 degrees. Make sure the light is on so you can see when your tofu is done. Now, we're going to cut this in. And make sure that you put it not at the top, at the bottom of this, just so you can see. If you have no top, bottom or top, and you just have one, then what you do is just put it on just so you can see. I'm gonna try to put it as low as possible. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get out a pot holder. You should always get the pot holder out before you start the oven. And then we'll have our glove on through, and we'll have our mitt. Now, so it doesn't really matter conventional or just regular bake, just any kind, except no broil. Don't do broil. So we're going to start the oven, and we're going to leave it in there. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to wait a little while, probably wait for 10 minutes. Even if it is not like a nice crispy color, if it's a nice crispy color, take one out and let it sit in the oven for a little and try it. If it is still soggy on the inside, leave it in for about 5 more minutes. If it is done, just take it out and let it rest for 5 minutes. And that's basically it. We're gonna wait 10 minutes. We'll check on it in 10 minutes, and then if it's not done, we will continue, and then we will end. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a fork, and we'll take some pepper. You gotta take some basil, and we gotta take some tofu. This piece right here looks good. Now, okay, so we have the tofu. Now what we're going to do is, so see this pepper? It should crack when I bend it, so it's not, so that means that the pepper is not done. Now the tofu. Now see the inside, it's not crispy on the outside, and on the inside it's still mushy. See that? It's all mushy. Now this basil, it should be crunchy, and it should split when I go like that, but it's actually harder to break. So it's not done yet. So that is how you determine if it is done. It might be weird, but I'm gonna eat this raw tofu. Okay, so it's been in for about 20 minutes, adding on the 10 minutes from before. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stop the oven again, and it was at 425 degrees again. So we're gonna take it out, we're gonna open this. Now remember, have your mitt on your left hand, or put your left on your non-dormant hand and the glove on your dormant hand. So you take the one with the glove, you're gonna grab the turkey, and we're gonna take it out. Now we're gonna put it right here. Now make sure you close it and you turn off the light. That's just because in my house we have a rule that you have to turn off the light. You have to have the light on when there's something in the oven and the light off when there's nothing. So now we're going to do a comparison. Okay, so now that we've got it out, we're going to pick a nice one. We'll pick this one here. We're going to take this out. Now we're going to take, let's see, we'll take this pepper. And we'll take this basil. Right down here. So now, we're going to start with the tofu. So we're going to split the tofu in half and see the differences. Now you see this is fluffy. It's not wet. And the outside's nice and crunchy, even though it's still soft. Let me see. Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Okay, now we're going to do the pepper. Now look, snaps easily. That means that it's been cooked all the way through. Now we're gonna see if it's nice and crunchy on the outside. Yes, it's perfect. You see this basil? Nice and crumbly. So that's perfect. Now, here's a comparison of this. Look. This tofu is so wet, soggy. See, it leaves the imprint of my fork, so that's bad. It's all just putty on the outside. You see, like, a little part right here just came right off the side, not even crunchy. Yeah, it's like completely raw. Now we're gonna see this, and look, it doesn't really even go very good. And let me taste it. Now, yeah, that's bad. Like, it's raw pepper. Now look at this basil. Like I can barely split it. Like, finally. It's not nice and crumbly. So those are the two comparisons of these two things. Now, it might seem weird, but I'm gonna make like a little sandwich. This is so good. Okay, now what we're going to do is you need a spatula. We're going to take the pan and we're going to just lightly put it under and transfer it. And don't worry if it gets messed up from how it was before. It's supposed to be like you're supposed to eat it. You're supposed to eat it like that. It's supposed to be like a little salad. Now, if you have a Trader Joe's or anything near you, get like a nice dressing and
Stop.
now what you do is you will take this and then drizzle it nicely over the tofu. Now, we're going to give it to my dad and we're going to see if he likes it. Okay, my dad's coming in now. So, also, after you put the dressing on, make sure that you take a little bit of the basil and fresh basil, not the basil that you cooked on the pan. You just take some of it from your plant or from where you got it, a package or anything. Now, we're going to see how he likes it. Okay, please enter.
All right. Okay, so I have my... I'm noticing the tofu is certainly nice and firm here. I see the little leaf on top of it. It's actually the leaf baked into the tofu. All right. So it's firm throughout. That's really good. Well, a little spicy for me, but I'm just a mild guy. All right, let me try. Oh, the pepper's cut extremely easily. I like that.
It means it's nice and cooked.
Extremely easy. Okay, now I always like combining things, so I have the pepper and the tofu. Oh, that's really nice. Because the pepper is nice and juicy still, because it hasn't been overcooked. And the dressing gives it a nice little something. All right, one more.
Try some of the basil with it.
And basil. Okay, so here's a piece of the cooked basil. Another piece of the tofu together. That's fantastic. That is truly fantastic.
I think I'm gonna steal some from you.
Give
me a fork. Now.
You want your own fork?
Give me a fork!
Okay.
You're making me envious. It's good. So, we're gonna have a new video soon. So remember, any questions, put it below. Like right there. See, it's right there. Now, remember, any questions, we want to take any questions. Like, how'd you come up with this idea? Why do you want to do this? Probably you'll find the answer to this. But any questions down below. Thank you, and I will see you next video. Bye-bye.